Well, we are less than a fortnight from the start of the 2023-24 NBA season. Unlike the 77 seasons before it, this incoming campaign promises to be a thrilling one. Like every other sports business, players come and go, and the NBA is no different, as a barrage of trades have gone down amongst different franchises as they all continue to look for pieces to fit into their projects with the sole aim of being crowned NBA champions. The Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns, Boston Celtics, and a whole lot of other teams made a lot of pivotal moves during the offseason. And on the show today, we'll be looking at the top trade deals ahead of the new season. My name is Deji Omotoyinbo, and welcome to a fresh season of Overtime. Many thanks for joining us. It promises to be a very, very interesting NBA season, of course. Another additional tournament NBA have thrown in there. And my regular sidekick, my regular co-host, Ibikunle Salako, is here. Ibikunle, what a season in store for us.
Well, I'm very happy to be back. What a season. A lot of trades have gone down. Some surprising, some I would say shocking, others not too surprising. But hopefully these guys, go into their new teams and, make history for themselves. Okay,
beyond the trades, it's also going to be a different kind of season because of the new competition the NBA has introduced. What impact do you think that will have?
Well, I think a lot of rules have been brought in. Obviously, the in-season tournament now is something, it gives the players more motivation to want to do better. Teams now, they also brought in the new policy about not resting players.
Yeah.
All of those...
Load shedding.
You understand? All of those sort of helps the league because a lot of periods, a lot of times where these teams just tend to rest their superstars when they know they've gotten very closer to the playoffs. They know, okay, they are well into the playoffs and they just decide to just rest the superstars. And people are paying a whole lot of money to watch all of these guys. So I think all of those things together coming into the new season, it sort of helps. The in-season tournament is there. They're going to make more money. But I think one thing I like that the NBA did was the fact that the in-season tournament also counts as part of the regular season. So as much as you maybe don't want to put in so much effort into the tournament, you need to also remember that if you lose those games, they count as regular season games for you.
Well, certainly it promises to be an interesting season. So let's go into the trades now. And of course, the biggest trade of all summer, everybody was wondering where would he go. We thought he was going to go to, I think he preferred Miami Heat.
Yeah.
That didn't pan out, but such a huge move. Damian Lillard joining the Milwaukee Bucks.
Well,
does that change the equation in that franchise?
Yeah, it does. I think it changes everything.
Or in that conference, I meant.
Not just the conference for me. It changes everything in the NBA because now you have two guys that were in the NBA 75th team, like you can rightly see there, moving from the Portland Trail Blazers, where he has been for about 11 seasons, and going to the Milwaukee Bucks. And it sort of tells you the sort of person he is. Milwaukee got just him. But that trade resulted into a whole chain of reaction that saw, Jrue Holiday having to move to the Portland Trail Blazers, then now to Boston Celtics. Then you also had guys like Toumani Camara, DeAndre Ayton, all of these, Kim Lee-Too, Yusuf Nurkic having to go to the Phoenix because it was a 3-team trade. But all of those, it just tells, because now you have two guys for me that were in the NBA 75th anniversary team, meaning two guys in one franchise that over the 78th year issue of the NBA are part of the 75 best players in the league, and now you have them in the same side.
And we always talk about 1-2 punch in the NBA and all of that, and it doesn't come bigger than this because you have two guys who are quite capable of dropping 30, 40, even 50 points on a good night on the same team.
Yeah,
alongside, of course, Giannis.
Yeah, he has scored 60, he has scored 70. Giannis has scored 50. Giannis has scored 52. Now you have a new coach, Adrian Griffin, defensively solid guy. You have Brook Lopez resigning, very good big man, can shoot the 3-ball, can defend, is a rim protector. You have a fit Chris Middleton coming back. He suffered that injury, didn't really do very well last season. Now he's back, he's there. Then you have, for me, one of the best scorers in the league. Probably the second best point guard in the league behind Steph Curry. Also one of the best 3-point shooters you can find anywhere. He won the 3-point contest last year. In his first year over there in Portland, he was the Rookie of the Year. He has won the NBA Teammate of the Year. There's nothing this guy hasn't seen.
It's not automatic that a big player, we've seen several times, a top player joins another top player and things just don't gel. So we're not assuming that things will gel. But if it clicks, does this turn Milwaukee Bucks into out-and-out favorites for the NBA title?
Yeah, it does for me. Going into the season, I felt like obviously you want to have the Phoenix Suns up there somewhere because of the 1-2 punch of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, even though they've been somewhat, disappointing. But now, they also brought in Bradley Beal. Let's not forget that.
We'll get
Then I was looking at Denver Nuggets because, defending champs, everybody will be coming for their necks, and you still have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. You cannot, shy away from the fact that those two are very, very solid and they've played together for a very long time. But now, looking at this trade, having to bring someone like Damian Lillard into this side, we all know that one of Milwaukee's shortcomings is their 3-ball. They have great defenders, they have size, they have big guys. Middleton can shoot he can score at all levels, but he's mostly very potent at the mid-range level. You have Giannis that is a beast in the paint. You have Brook Lopez who can somehow shoot the 3-ball. They had to bring in Joe Ingles last season for that, shoot the 3-ball for them. But now you have Damian Lillard. This is his bread and butter. This is bread and butter for him. And he's also a very solid point guard. He can read the floor, pick and rolls, very solid for him. He can score at all 3 levels, and he's a fantastic teammate. So I think it changes everything for everyone in the NBA.
I think the potential for the Milwaukee Bucks is excellent. So let's go to Damian Lillard. Let's hear what he had to say after this move.
Obviously, I've spent my entire career in Portland, 11 years, a long time. So I'm extremely thankful for that organization, that city, the fans, for giving me the kind of experience that I had. And I don't think it's a secret how much I want to win. And that's how we got here today. And I think they want to win equally as bad as I do. And, I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more thankful for this opportunity to be a part of this organization, to play alongside the best player in the league. It's going to be fun.
Even merely seeing him in that Bucks jersey is scary. Because when you want to play against them and you see him, and Giannis coming. I mean, some teams might just freeze when they see those two. But like I said, and we know it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And we know it's not that automatic. But if it clicks, you have to say Milwaukee Bucks will be there or thereabouts. Another trade, an offshoot of this one, Milwaukee Bucks lost Jrue Holiday. But a 2-team trade, 3-team trade, he ended up at the Boston Celtics. And I think that for the Celtics is a fantastic acquisition, considering the fact that they lost Marcus Smart.
Yeah, it's for me. I think these two sides sort of won the offseason. Milwaukee Bucks and Jrue Holiday. In the league, it's all about a case of ripple effect. For me, I obviously he's a superstar, but no disrespect. Damian Lillard is a bigger superstar than him, and I understood when the Milwaukee Bucks had to do away with him to bring in Damian Lillard. Now, going down to the Portland Trail Blazers, I looked while that deal happened. I looked around the league and I was looking for teams that needed a point guard, and it was just the Boston Celtics because they've always been talks of them not having a true point guard, even while Marcus Smart was there. They're now losing Marcus Smart, who won the Defensive Player of the Year 2 seasons ago. A very solid defender, a big time leader. They needed somebody to come in who can defend, who can shoot the 3-ball, who can score, and who is a very good leader. And that's somebody who that's what Jrue Holiday is. Last season for me, when Chris Middleton wasn't really around, he took that mantle of scoring, and it was the second highest scorer for the Milwaukee Bucks behind obviously Antetokounmpo. So Milwaukee Bucks have got, Boston Celtics, they've gotten themselves a leader, a true professional, someone who can score, and for me, the best defensive guard in the league.
And probably some have said the best two-way player in the league as well.
Yeah, he is because
he's great offensively
and defensively he's fantastic.
He also
he's very fantastic.
It's very interesting. These trades are coming up. Let's go to Jrue Holiday as well now. What did he have to say after that trade?
It's definitely been a whirlwind. Just my family was established there, and we had school and things like that. We had friends, but it's also a part of the business. I feel like coming here is definitely my best chance of winning and being able to help the guys here that have made big moves and done great things in this league. So I'm here to really just help step up that game and become a champion. So it's been very, very welcoming, and really just glad to be here, a part of this championship caliber group. And not only that, what this stands for. I mean, a Boston Celtic. And again, growing up in LA as a Laker fan, I know a lot of my family's probably hurt, but but I know this is a blue collar town. They love people that work hard.
I know it's early doors yet. I'm just looking at him in that Celtics jersey as well, or that jersey to Celtics overall. He seems to be very, very at home, I meant to say. Now, these two teams, though, does this catapult them into favorites in this conference?
Yeah, it does, because, we've always said it here that the Eastern Conference, for some reasons, when it gets to the playoff, they've sort of like battered themselves, while inside of the conference, you have the Milwaukee Bucks, for some time the Toronto Raptors, the Boston Celtics, you have Miami Heat, let's not rule them out.
Yeah.
So most of these guys are hard hitters, they're hard-working guys. And the Eastern Conference is very tough. Maybe not as tough as the Western Conference in terms of abilities and qualities, but in terms of hard work, in terms of grit, that's something I've always seen in that conference. So it does, because it pushes them to the upper echelon.
All right, going to the the East now, Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns acquired Bradley Beal. How important is this acquisition, considering the fact that they lost a couple of players?
Yeah, well, it is important because, but my thing with the Suns is, you let go of Monty Williams, then you brought in Frank Vogel, former Lakers coach. He won the championship with Lakers. Fantastic defensive coach, knows how to set his team up very defensively. But no disrespect, you are bringing guys that their first line of thought is scoring. You have Devin Booker, probably for me, the best shooting guard in the league. He can score at all levels. You have Kevin Durant, one of the best players ever that the NBA has ever seen. Now you're bringing in a Bradley Beal that is probably known for his scoring more than more than his defending.
So you think they're top heavy going forward?
Offensively. Then what happens defensively? You have Yusuf Nurkic, fine, fantastic center, brought in him for Portland Trail Blazers. But what are you when you go deep in the playoffs? You need defense as much as you need offense. So no problems with Bradley Beal. He's a fantastic player. He has done
you just feel that maybe the balance is not there.
I don't think they have the balance.
Offensive and defensive.
I don't think Phoenix Suns have that balance. I don't think they do.
We shall see. Interesting. Quite a few trades we're still about to talk to you about, but after this break, we'll be back on Overtime shortly.
Ready to hit the court with Overtime. Join us as we bring you the latest highlights and analysis around the NBA. From buzzer-beating shots to jaw-dropping dunks, Overtime has it all. With timely insights from the best experts, you get an inside look at the game like never before. We'll break down the biggest matchups, dissect the most talked about plays, and bring you up close and personal with your favorite players. Whether you're a die-hard fan or just looking to get into the action, Afro Sports Overtime has something for everyone. So don't miss out. Tune in and join the excitement today.
Welcome back to Overtime as we look forward to a new season that promises to be quite exciting with some of the trades we've been talking about. So let's continue with another trade, a very, very interesting one as this. Chris Paul, CP3, goes over to Golden State Warriors. What do you make of this?
Well, for me, it was very weird when I first heard of it, because obviously you have to look at what the Golden State Warriors had to depart with. They had to go with Jordan Poole. For me, he had a fantastic season during the regular season last season, but the playoffs, he sort of just wasn't himself. Now, you had Patrick Baldwin. When they drafted Patrick Baldwin, he was very solid in college. He could score, he could shoot the three ball very well. You have Ryan Collins, who is a very fantastic, up-and-coming guard. But I think the Golden State Warriors are tilting towards winning now. Because you look at CP3, he's 38. Yeah. He's the third oldest guy in the league behind, I think, LeBron James and the other guy, the former Rockets guy. But you look at these guys, and I think they're just thinking of winning now because they are departing. They're letting go of a lot of young stars. So
we know, like you said, we know he's 38. We know he's looking for a ring.
Yeah.
We know what he brings to the table, and people have said he's too old. But what does he add to this team?
Yeah.
That they don't already have. What does he add to this team?
I think a floor general. Because,
Okay.
he's the point guard for a reason. I think a lot of people will tell you that Stephen Curry is not a true guard. They say he's more of like
true.
more of an hybrid guard, more of a
he's
two
like a
that they want.
hybrid, yeah.
So that's what CP3 does. He reads the floor very well. He picks the passes well. He might just be 6'2", but he's a great defender. And there's one thing I think the Warriors lacked last season. I think they lacked true leadership because Draymond Green and all of his trances.
Shenanigans.
You
of
understand?
course.
So that was, I think, what chased Jordan Poole away. So I think this is a guy that's level-headed. He's been there, he's done that. This is his 19th season in the NBA. So he brings that true leadership, together with what Steph Curry already has, together with the culture of that franchise. And I think they are one of the unsung heroes.
Does it make them one of the favorites?
It does because they've not lost those three guys.
Those three guys, yes.
Stephen
They're still
Curry,
there.
Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. They're now adding
More
CP3,
experience.
adding
And more
Darius
know-how.
Saric. They are bringing in experience, Rudy Gay, and then you have guys like Kuminga and Moody going into their third season now. They are more exposed, they are more experienced. So we don't let us write them out off yet.
Chris Paul to Golden State Warriors. Let's hear what CP3 point guard has to say.
It's been going really well. First time I actually put the uniform on was for my new State Farm commercials. But it's a transition with anything. Just even media day when you saying Dub Nation here and there. Has not been a sound I didn't like to hear for the past I don't know how many years. For me, I actually had an opportunity in 2008 to come off the bench for the Olympic team, you know what I mean? And that went pretty well. And I think anybody who knows me knows that I'm all about winning. You know what I mean? Whatever I can do to help our team win. So I know coaching us, we're going to talk about it and see what it looks like. It's been a lot, even with Dre. We been the craziest competitors against each other for a long time, and there's a lot of things that said here and there. I tend to deal with things a lot more privately. So we talked, went to lunch, had a great conversation, all these different things, but also with all the different guys. Steph, Clay. I told you Clay then guarded me for years. We was playing pickup the other day, and he guarded me, and I looked at, I said, we don't do this no more, And so it's funny, man. Life is crazy.
You already got yours in, Ryan? Yeah.
Golden State Warriors, a team of superstars with the addition of Chris Paul. All right, let's move on. Another player, Kristaps Porzingis.
That was another deal that I really did not understand because Boston Celtics have Al Horford. They've got, obviously they gave that super contract to, they have Jason Tatum. They let Marcus Smart go. They let Malcolm Brogdon go. They had Robert Williams before they brought in Kristaps Porzingis. So I really did not understand why they got this guy.
Could it be about depth of the squad of the roster, so to speak?
Maybe, but what they've had to let go because of this. I mostly always think of what is going out as opposed to what is coming
back in.
Because when you let young stars go out and you're bringing players that are fairly maybe 28, 29, 30.
Maybe it's the pressure of wanting to win because the Boston Celtics have come close a couple of times in the last couple of seasons, and maybe they just feel that Jrue Holiday has joined Kristaps Porzingis' journey. Maybe they feel that the experience and the know-how of these guys might make them closer to winning.
But Porzingis is a fantastic player, no doubt. But what I'm saying is, we know his injury history in the league, and when you have guys like this for a championship pedigree side like Boston Celtics, it's not. We all know they will make the playoffs, so it's not really about the playoffs. It's not really about that road to the playoffs. It's more or less what do you do during the playoffs. So it's a case of would he even be ready for the playoffs? Because at the World Cup, the FIBA World Cup, he did not even play for Latvia. So I think my own my own grudge with this particular trade is his injury history as opposed to his talent.
Okay, so Boston Celtics have added Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, but one key player that went out is Marcus Smart. Were you surprised at that?
Yeah, I was. Like I've been saying since, I was surprised about the Marcus Smart move to the Memphis Grizzlies. But the good thing about Marcus Smart's move to the Grizzlies is it's understandable for the other party, for the Grizzlies. But I really don't get that move for Boston. Grizzlies, they are going to lose Ja Morant for about 25 to 26 games, if I'm right, because of the incident that happened last year. But fantastic guy, great leader. They also brought in another experienced guard who for me, I think will be very, very important for the team. Marcus Smart can defend. We all know that, like I rightly said, the defensive player of the year just 2 seasons ago. Fantastic leader. He's been in the league in his own right. He's a veteran. He's done very well for himself. So hopefully he goes down there to Memphis and he helps that team get overboard.
Okay. Moving on now. A player that started very well with the Phoenix Suns, but it looked like a kind of tailed off in the last couple of years, and he's gotten his move now, is DeAndre Ayton.
This is another guy.
What went wrong for him?
Yeah, I feel
at
like
the Phoenix Suns.
I feel like he has not, fulfilled his potential, because this is a number 1 pick of the draft. Fantastic guy coming out of college. Everybody felt it was the right fit in Phoenix to go with that Devin Booker punch. A small guy and a big guy, they can both score. That guy can score on 2 levels. You can score, in the paint, dominate the paint, help us defensively, get blocks. But I think for some reasons he has not really done that. I think, when Phoenix Suns started bringing in superstars, I felt like he sort of crushed him and he sort of went into a shell. But, coming to the Portland Trail Blazers, no disrespect to them, maybe he can regain his confidence, sort of like rebuild what he has. And he's always been saying he wants to play as a power forward as opposed to playing as a center. So maybe coming down there, he gets his chance and he does well.
Now, finally, on the trades that we're going to talk about on today's show, Jordan Poole left the Golden State Warriors, has gone to Washington Wizards. Was it inevitable after all that happened last season?
Yeah, it was. It was surprising for me that he still, weathered through whatever happened, or what happened rather. He's just 24, but he's proving himself to be a top professional. We saw what happened with Draymond Green last training camp, the whole punch and everything. Still went into the regular season, gave them about over 20 points per game. He was their 3rd best scorer during the regular season. But going into the playoffs, he really just didn't get himself. And a lot of people attributed it to psychological as opposed to talent, obviously. But now he has gone to the Wizards and hopefully he shows himself.
So we've talked about 8 trades. We'll take a break now. When we come back, I'll be asking my guests who got the best deal in the close season. We'll be back.
It is time.
It is time.
It is time.
For too long, the world has viewed us through other people's lenses.
But now, it's Africa's time to tell our own success stories in sports to the rest of the world, the way only we can.
Afrosport. It's time to celebrate Black excellence in sports non-stop.
Que sigue buscando el beneficio del equipo. ¡Qué control de Jordi Alba!
Welcome back. Closing sequences of Overtime, the maiden edition for the new season. Many thanks for joining us. So, after we've talked about all these monster trades, Ibikunle, who would you say, let me put it this way, for each conference, who would you say got the best deals? Could be more than one team.
Yeah. I think for the East, obviously the Milwaukee Bucks. That's, like you rightly said, a monster deal that was for Damian Lillard. Having to bring in a superstar of that caliber, 7-time All-Star, won the 3-point contest last season, you know, one-time Rookie of the Year, NBA 75 team member, going to Pali with another NBA 75 team member up there in Milwaukee. You know, having the love of that franchise. Because one thing that stood out for me was the fact that Giannis came out during the summer and said he wasn't going to sign a contract until they showed him that they wanted to win.
Yeah.
And what a way to show your superstar that you wanted to win by bringing him another superstar. So I think Milwaukee Bucks sort of like settled that argument. You know, they won that for me. Then on the other side for the West, I think I'll go with the Golden State Warriors. You know, having to bring in that experience of Chris Paul. You know, I've seen one of their preseason games, and they sort of look like they've got that bouncy feeling that you know, we've always known the Warriors to be that bubbly franchise, and I think they got that feeling back. You know, bringing an experienced guy like that, someone that now. Steve Kerr tried a lot of times last season to go for the small ball where he's playing Drummond at the 5, Wiggins at the 4, and you know, Klay Thompson at the 3. Now you can actually do that
and give you more room
to
be able to experiment.
because you can actually do that because you have Chris Paul that can actually handle the ball, and Steph Curry running about shooting.
Interesting stuff. We'll be here in April, May, and we'll see who's going to win it all. But a lot of these trades makes for a potentially very, very exciting NBA season. Ibekule, thank you very much for joining us on Overtime. On next week's show, we're going to take a look at which teams we feel will be the contenders and which teams we feel will be the pretenders, so to speak. Many thanks for joining us on Overtime. My name is Dick Jomoto, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.